Hindus believe that the jiva is eternal, although some believe that a jiva can become eternally confined in the cycles of birth and death, or confined to hell. The ascended masters teach that the soul can self-destruct through its own actions. The book of Revelation, written down by John the Beloved as a dictation from Jesus Christ, tells of the second death. It says, "He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death." The second death is defined in Revelation 20, verses 14 and 15. It is written, "And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire." In our book, The Lost Teachings of Jesus, we explain the second death as the termination of the soul, as the potential that could have realized Brahman through the Atman, but chose not to. It's very important for you to get this straight today, because you will understand the Ascended Master's teachings on Hinduism. The second death is the termination of the soul as the potential that could have realized Brahman through the Atman, but chose not to. Why then does God allow for, 1, the possibility of self-annihilation through the denial of the inner God, and 2, the possibility of self-exaltation through the confirmation of the inner God? The reason is that through the Atman, the soul has the free will to be or not to be. If we could not exercise that free will choice, then we would be mere robots, replications of Brahman, but not really the true Brahman. If the soul chooses to allow the human ego to take over the body, the mind, the heart, the consciousness, and the soul, she is thereby choosing not to be in the divine ego or God. Thus she loses her ability to perpetuate the original spin of aliveness, whereby she was spun out from the heart of creation in the beginning. Let us explain. The ego devours the soul like a cancer, melding itself to it until it is no longer possible to separate the soul from the dweller of its own creation. How often we discover that a friend has a cancer. It is so much a part of an organ that the only way to take the cancer out is to take the entire organ out. This is the concept of the soul being bonded to the ego, and the ego devouring the soul by the soul's permission. By the time the soul stands before the judgment seat, it is already self-consumed, and the final judgment and the second death are the ratification by heaven's law of that which the soul herself has already decreed by free will. After the death of the soul, or jiva, the flame of Atman merges with the flame of Brahman, and God is one. As the Gita says, birthless, deathless, and changeless remaineth the spirit forever. You see, when the soul self-aborts, it is the abortion of what might have been, but chose not to be. The word with Brahman sows millions of souls in each manvantara. Some attain everlasting life by conscious union with the Atman and Brahman, and some attain to everlasting death. The self-aborted souls leave spaces of emptiness where the light of God could have been mirrored to all of cosmos through them, had they chosen to so magnify the Lord of creation. When they self-abort, all creation loses the joy of that virtue of God which they were destined to embody. And so there is a permanent loss in that manvantara. But in succeeding ages, other souls will choose to reflect the wonders of Creator and creation, and all that was lost may ultimately be regained as new souls exercise their potential to be one with the Atman and to realize Brahman as their real self. Let us underscore the reality that is before each one of us. The soul potential, or jiva, can take the high road of the return to the Godhead. The sage Sanat Kumara gives this teaching in the great Hindu epic, the Mahabharata. As a goldsmith purifies the dross of his metal by repeatedly casting it into the fire with very persistent efforts of his own, after the same manner, Jiva succeeds in cleansing himself by his course through hundreds of births. Someone may be seen to purify himself in only one life by mighty efforts. Once purified, your soul reunites with Atman and Brahman. We are not free until every part of us is one with the infinite. So we have joyous work to do in this life, and we secure the protection for our souls daily through the invocation of Archangel Michael.